back and wanted to share a video on something that I have enjoyed making in the past when I used to do catering, and it's called Dolmades. And I wanted to share a little bit about dolmas. Dolmas is traditionally a grape leaf that is stuffed. It can be stuffed with lamb, or it can be stuffed with rice, and it's wrapped in these marinated grape leaves that you can find at any specialty store, and you wrap them up and you steam them. And but I'm going to do a little something different. I'm not going to use grape leaves, although I love the tanginess of the grape leaves because they're firm. They're processed in I think it's vinegar. I'm not too sure, but I've only made them one time, and that was for a catering that I did at a railroad museum, and it so was part of my international cuisine. But then we grew up with what inspired me to make those. We grew up with a family they were Greek. They're from Greece, and near the railroad where I grew up. And I asked her, called her, and I said, "What should I make for Greek food?" And she said, "Make dolmas." And I said, "Okay." And so I went and I bought a cookbook, and it's pretty old, and it's the food of Greece. It's paperback, nothing pricey. You probably get it at $1 at a library or somewhere, or order it online. But it has some really good recipes in there, really nice recipes. And then recently I saw on TV was a chef, a raising chef who has her own. She's fortunate to have her own restaurant in the community, and so she used, instead of the grape leaves, she used the collard greens. And it's so ironic because I thought about using the collard greens, and then I saw her and it was like, okay, is this premonition, or are we on the same page here? And I thought, we probably have a lot in common in our cooking techniques. And I thought, wow, that was so cool. But she used a different sauce, and I'm going to be using like a Mediterranean sauce, like a marinara sauce, so with mine. So let's get started. I'm going to wash my hands, and I'm so excited to show you this because, like I said, I haven't done it too often, so this will be kind of new to me, and we're going to do this kind of like together. So, okay. So what I have here is some ground beef, that's about a half a pound of ground beef that I'm going to mix in with the lamb. And you could do that. Lamb is kind of pricey, so I would assume that that's the reason why people do it, or the other reason is lamb can be a little gamey, and the beef kind of stretches it out. The beef kind of mellows out the gaminess of the lamb. So I'm going to go ahead and mix those two, and that's about a pound of lamb. And of course it's organic, so I mean organic meaning that it's sustainable lamb. It's important that when I use meat, I like it to be sustainable, which means that the farmers that are local are that it's going back into and I think I've talked about this before, so the more I talk about it, the more I know I get some information myself. So okay. So I have that, and then what I'm going to do is, I'm going to wash my hands real quick. I'm going to use another onion. Well, I don't think I want to, I take that back. I'm not going to use onion inside the lamb. I'm going to use herbs in something else. But before we do that, I'm going to, be very careful with your leaves and with your collard greens. And so I trimmed them. Okay, you could use the scissors to kitchen shears to shears. You can trim them, trim the hard part out because you're going to use this instead of the grape leaves. So I'm going to go ahead and I put just a little bit of just boiled water and some salt, make it a little salty, and then we'll bring the collard green leaves. It'll make it nice and bright. I wish I could get a hold of my son's collard greens and then just kind of blanch them in there and just kind of, yeah, let them lay out like so. And my son he's got a green thumb, so he actually, him and my other daughter, my oldest daughter, have the green thumbs because we used to be in the garden all the time. And I think sometimes it comes naturally, it runs in our family, so here we go. And see, I just blanched that really quickly just to kind of make it flexible and bring out those beautiful green colors and just colors of those leaves. It's pretty cool. This is a nice change from grape leaves to a colored green. I think it's pretty cool. So I'm doing it one at a time. You could do them all at the same time. But since this is my first time, I don't want to mess it up. So, and so pretty. Have my music going. Now when I'm going to use my wine for my, I'm going to put it over here so I won't forget to put it in there for my sauce that I want to make. Okay. And kind of let those soak up nice and pretty. And that's a little rip, but I'm going to go ahead and put the rip ones in there as well. And sometimes you can, whatever you're not going to use, you can dice them up and then mix them also with the rice and the meat, and then they'll all cook together. I'm going to lower this music real quick, okay? Okay, so I have my meat. It's kind of like a meatloaf technique that you want to use. And then I also, I'm going to put this aside. And then what I want to do is probably saute my garlic before I put it in here. So I have some rice that I mixed up. And this is pretty cool. What I did was I used a technique which it's a Korean technique where you boil the rice in a skillet and then you let it crispy up on the bottom. It's kind of cool. I just wanted to do something different, so I'm gonna put this in there. You put the rice, and that's about a cup of rice. It could be stretched out like this. I would probably need 2 bunches of the collard greens. but I only got one bunch, and then I'll probably have some left over, which I can do later. And also I could freeze it after it's made. Okay? So then I want to take, I usually use pinches, but I'm going to go ahead and measure out like a couple teaspoons salt and pepper. Okay, I'll probably need more salt and pepper for the sauce that I'm going to be making. And I have some lemon juice, fresh lemons from a friend. I'm just going to put a little splatter in there. And then I'm going to dice. What I have is, now you're supposed to use parsley and dill, but I'm going to use, instead of parsley and dill, I'm going to use mint leaves for the lamb, and beef, and cilantro. I like the flavor of cilantro, so I'm going to use those. I'm going to chop them up really fine here. Okay. Kind of mince them together. Have that song playing. Feeling a little bit of Greek here. Or actually it's not Mediterranean. It's actually Italian style, but that's okay. Okay, I'm going to put that in there. Now I don't want to put too much of the lemon, and so I'm going to go ahead and lightly saute my the cloves, and that's about 3 cloves. Okay, wash my hands in between. Oh, that smells so good. It smells good. So and you can put onions in it if you want. I'm not going to put any onions. But I do want to put a little bit of smoked paprika in it. Just want to bring some other flavors in with my meats. It's up to you what you want to put. I think I'm going to need more salt and pepper in there, so I'll put that in there. Smell it. Okay. So you just want to lightly, you don't want to over saute your garlic, because then it'll become bitter. I think I mentioned that before. So I'm going to put that in there. Alright. Put that aside. I think I'm going to put just a little bit, well, you can use a pure extra virgin olive oil. Just to kind of, it's like a teaspoon in there. Nice bottle. It's a really nice bottle. I might want to save that for something else. You can actually save your bottles and then get some corks, and you can make your own oil, which would be nice. Recycle. Okie dokie. So let's mix this up with your hands. Mix it up. You can put an egg in there if you like. I always think like meatloaf, but I think I'm going to do it this time. I think that meat, there's plenty of protein in there, and then you have the rice, which is like a filler. I think I'm going to put the rest of it, and that's part cooked. It's not cooked all the way. That rice is partly cooked. Okay. So we just want to, okay. smells so good with that smoked paprika. I don't know what my friend puts in her dolmas, but when I had them, she brought them over for the family during our bereavement, and they were so delicious. So, okay. So I have all that. Okay. Let's wash my hands in between. And make sure that you're on. Make sure you're on still. And you are on still. So I'm going to start the sauce and use my cast iron skillet here to start a nice sauce, which is going to be, it's going to really make these dolmas delicious. So I want the sauce to begin to cook. So while it's cooking, I'll boil them up, I'll wrap them up and then stick them in there and then let the sauce cook with the collard greens. So I think that will just like bring out some beautiful flavors. So, okay. I need a little bit more oil in there. I probably should have had this going, and that's extra virgin, half and half is what we called it, extra virgin olive oil with the canola oil. And you want to get the high heat canola oil. I have more extra virgin olive oil. Let's see how this. You can get the extra virgin olive oil at a reasonable price, and this is USDA, organic, and non-GMO, which is nice. And then this is the canola oil. I usually try to find it on sale because they are kind of pricey, and I don't like all those chemical stuff. I wish all oil was like that, but unfortunately it's not. So maybe one day we'll get there, right? I'm going to wipe this off. Really, I'm going to rinse it off really quick because I'm going to be making my dolmas on it. Okay. Make sure you have your sanitized water. You can use your towels that you use specifically for sanitizing your boards and whatnot. Rinse it with hot water. Let me get another towel here. Okay, dry it off. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put, this is like a whole bell pepper dice, medium dice, and an onion, a whole onion, medium dice. Stick that in there. You know, and the less dishes you use, the better. Because I keep using a lot of dishes. It's a waste. And this is a really easy, oh, did you see that? Fell out. This is a real easy recipe. Pretty cool. And I'm going to get some salt. Just kind of sprinkle. I like using kosher salt, but I ran out, so I'm going to go ahead and substitute some of my sea salt. is nice to use. This is like some really good home cooking, or you can use it in your restaurant, which, you know, would be nice to have if you have one. So, I don't see dolmas too much on the menu, maybe because people aren't acquainted with it. They might be on a Greek menu that I'm not aware of, but I don't see it much. So, anyways. Okay. So I want to make sure these are kind of translucent while they're cooking. And then I'm going to be pouring some wine in there. And I'm going to be taking my grape leaves. I'm going to put it over here so you can see. Place it over here so you can see what the heck I'm doing. Okay. Here you go. Okay. So I have and I'm going to do it, well, let's see. If I do it that way, it might break, so I don't want to break it. So I'm going to go ahead and lay it flat. And then you could use like a measuring spoon. So I would say that's about a tablespoon. Nice. I think I want these a little bit big, but it depends on how you want to make them. That's like a nice heaping tablespoon I'm going to put in there. And that should be good. And then what you want to do is that book has instructions on how to do it, and it's almost like we used to call these Greek tamales. So, and you just kind of wrap them, and they look like little cabbage. Actually, that's a big dolma. It's really huge. Actually, dolmas are like really small. I want to make sure I'm doing it right. So what I could have done was blanch these a little bit longer in the water so they could be a little bit more flexible. And these are going to be huge. That's okay. But you can make them as small as you want. So I'll put that there. So if you have beautiful collard greens growing in your backyard, you can get any kind of meat. Spice it up, add some rice. It's a meal in one. And then you could just kind of, yeah, this is nice. Wrap them up like that. And just kind of poke them over. See how pretty those are? Anybody can make these. And just make sure that they don't seep out. Okay. It's nice and pretty. Come back over here. Stir my peppers and onions. It's nice. What I'm going to do is use like this Indian type of technique and add some more spices, like go ahead and add a teaspoon of paprika. That's 1 teaspoon. Make sure it's 1 teaspoon. a little bit of salt here. So I'm going to go ahead and add like a teaspoon of salt. Let's get all the spices I have. But I needed some pepper. So I want to use some pepper in there, but this time I'm going to use white pepper. Where's my white pepper? Here it is. Oops. That's a lot. And I'm going to put about a half teaspoon of the white. And this is like finely grounded white pepper. I call it an Indian technique because a lot of the Indians in India, they cook their spices first in the oils to bring out all the beautiful oils. God, that smells so good. And then they add the liquids. I think it's nice. So I'm going to go, this is about, and these are not very expensive. These are like only $1.50 a can, believe it or not. And this has 28 ounces, so I'm going to probably put like half of that in there. Yeah. Okay. Nice. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some chicken broth. You can use vegetable broth, but that's chicken broth, and that's low sodium, and that's about half of 32 ounces, or maybe a third of 32 ounces. This is going to be nice. Oh, I found the tomatoes happen to have basil in them. I'm so lucky to find that. Let me wipe this down over here. Okay. Let me taste. Of course, we have to taste because it's delicious when you taste it. This is like a meal in one. You have your starches and you have protein and you have your vegetables. Serve it with a slice of bread and you're good. A little twangy. So how do I remove the twang? I want to put some more pepper in there. With a little bit more salt. Should kill the twang. Okay. And of course you can put some herbs in there if you like, but I have so many herbs in here that I think I'm good. Because that's gonna, and I'm gonna lower it.